Hi, I'm Justine, and I'm going to do my best to teach you how to make a changing towel and a board bag. So the first thing that you're going to need is fabric. I just got mine from my local thrift store, but I also know that Joann sells scrap fabric for really cheap too. I sewed 2 towels together to make my changing towel just because mine were small, so feel free to do that if you don't have enough fabric, but just make sure that the good sides face each other when you sew them so that the seams don't show. Then I cut out 2 rectangles that were like 46 by 38 inches, but you can totally adjust that to your size. After that, I made a cut about 11 inches down on all 4 of the long sides of the fabric and folded it onto the bad side of the fabric, or what's eventually going to be the inside, so that the armhole has a clean seam, but you don't have to do this part if you don't mind the raw hem. After that, I sewed both pieces together, starting after the armholes, and then I cut a neck hole in the middle of both pieces that was like 8 inches wide and 1 inch deep. And then I sewed the 2 pieces together on the right and left of the neck hole. You could totally finish it off right here, or if you want to, you can make it a little neater. I just made 2 seams around the neck hole so that it doesn't fray, and I also hemmed the bottom of the towel. After that, all you have to do is flip it right side out and you're all set. And if you wanted to personalize it, you can glue on a design with fabric glue, or you could even make the whole changing towel with fabric glue if you hate sewing. Next, for the board bag, I just laid out all my scraps on top of my board and I traced them, leaving about 4 inches extra around it and then a few more extra inches for the fin, and I cut it out. And then I was using scrap fabric, so I had to sew all those pieces together vertically first, but if you have one long piece of fabric, this is going to be a lot easier. After that, I sewed the 2 halves of fabric together and made sure that the good sides were facing each other. And I had to bunch up fabric at the end for the fin so that it would expand to fit the whole fin, but you don't have to worry about that if you have one big piece. Then I folded the fabric over to make a tube at the end so that I could tighten up the bag later. And after that, I folded the bag over onto itself with the good sides facing each other and the bad sides facing me, so that I could sew up the other half of the bag, but just make sure that you don't sew the cinch tube at the end closed. And after that, I just sewed together some scrap fabric so that I could pull it through the tube as a string when I was finished. And now all you have to do is slide in your board and cinch it up. Definitely a lot easier than it looks, especially if you have a large piece of fabric to start with and you're not working with scraps like I was. And now you have your own changing towel and board bag, and they're made sustainably with secondhand materials. Don't forget to save your scraps. I used mine to make a string for a previous board bag that I made, and also to fill up this thrift store pillow. Cheers and good luck. I'm stoked to see what you make.